Mhm. It's swelling, and we are live. Hello, hello, folks. How is everybody doing tonight? Today is December 6th, 2022.
Happy
And I always
Happy
like
St.
to go.
Nicholas Day.
Yes, you did mention that on your reels today, that it was St. Nicholas's Day. Happy St. Nicholas to everybody who
I
celebrates that.
was
I
My
don't.
father's from Amsterdam. And so St. Nicholas is like their Santa Claus. You put your shoes out on the night of the 5th and you get presents. And we did that as kids. So I know it's not in a lot of people's traditions, but it was big in our house. So happy St. Nicholas Day.
Now, where do you put your shoes? Outside?
Well, I'm sure originally it was on the doorstep and the stoop. That's the wooden shoes they would put outside. And if you were good, you would get presents and candies, oranges, treats, whatever. And if you were bad, you got coal
Oh,
or
well, we
and they
we
would put
know
hay.
we
They would put hay in them, and we just put ours outside our bedroom.
we know that we were good,
Yeah.
so
So
we'll get gifts.
yes,
Yes.
and I continued it with my son. I already sent him his Saint Nicholas, even though he's
So
older.
we'll get gifts. Yes.
And the
Yes.
other
So we
one,
are streaming on Facebook on YouTube. So for everyone who's there on YouTube, say hello and remember to hit that like button and subscribe if you have not already, because that would be great. I'd appreciate that. And we're going to go and see if we are streaming on Twitter because we should be there too. And then we're going to, of course, land on good old Facebook, which is usually where we land. Let's see if we can find us on Twitter. And there we are on Twitter as well. So for those who are watching on Twitter, leave a comment or two. And now we're going to go and land on Facebook, which is there we are. For anybody who chooses to come and listen, watch, and play. So, Kitty, introduce yourself.
I am Kitty Foss. I am a storytelling astrologer and co-owner of Intuition of the Soul, which is a private Facebook group where we do programs and people share information. And I also own a class about astrology that with another friend, Stephanie Getz of Get Spooky Society, and we teach about manifesting with the moon and the stars. So I'm the astrology aspect of that. And that's why we're here.
That is so true to why we are here tonight. So,
We're here to talk about the stars.
yes, when Kitty and I get together, we get together to play, but we
Mhm.
also get together to give some insight to every one of you, and with some hope, the insight that we do share helps you out in regards to what you may be feeling, what you may be experiencing, what you might actually be feeling in your body as well. Because I like to believe that, especially the moon, whatever's going on in our lives, whatever pain, illness, or disease that we might be experiencing, has a lot to do with our good old planets, especially when they are in the process of shifting. And I would say this week specifically, we have a lot of shifts coming into play, which is what we're going to talk about in a minute. But in case some of you have no idea who I am, I would be really surprised about that. But there's always that one person who might be new, strolling past. I have a long, long title, Reverend Joanne Angel Barry Cologne. I'm your holistic personal trainer, intuitive healer, cosmic energy reader, medical astrologer, master of numerology, the creator of my chakra balance numerology cosmic energy forecast deck. And yes, that is the damn name of the deck. I know it's super, super long. When and if I ever create another deck, it will not be that long. And interesting enough, because since you happen to be staring at my counter over there, I figured it might be a good idea to put something up over there, maybe distract you a little bit, which is one of my many books that I am a publisher of, and that one is Healing with Numbers, which is something that I do. So that's what I do, and super excited to be here with Kitty today to talk about the planetary shifts, what's going on, the moon's energy, because that's part of the shifts as well, that beautiful moon. So,
Yeah.
Kitty, where do you want to start?
It's I'm laughing about your deck. I have here's what I call it, Joanne's deck. It's a wonderful deck, especially if you're new with cards. It's very simple, very straightforward. It's also, if you're really working on your intuition or your mysticism, one's internal, one's external kind of thing, then it's a great tool. It really is a great tool. And I just call it Joanne's deck. So
Yes.
because of the
That's
name of it.
simple, right?
Yeah. And so where to start? Well, I mean, we started today because Venus went into Capricorn. And Venus likes Capricorn. It's about the relationship we have with bigger structures. And it's about Venus, which rules Libra and Taurus. So it has a component about communication with this an air sign, this Libra, about balance and justice, and but a lot of this Taurus, other Earth energy. So it likes Capricorn. It kind of pushes our leadership examination, our government's examination, and was an interesting day today because where this full moon that's coming up on Wednesday is in Gemini, and it is a healing, moving through big energy moon. And there's some gnarliness, there's some weaving. I've been trying to find a word for it's not easy. It's got lots of little pieces. It's a lot of cleaning out this, and it's around what we believed to be true or hold as truth, and we're seeing that it's shifting, and we've made decisions and things about that, and we're coming to and it's all about that communication. And because of it was very interesting today because Mercury, which is actually it was Mercury that moved to Capricorn. Venus moves later this week. That Mercury was not talking on its way out with that Sagittarian energy at all. Not at all. It wasn't talking. It wasn't working with the Taurus and stabilizing. It was standing in the corner. That's kind of what's coming. Like
Yes.
We're looking at our judgments. We are really, this is looking at our judgment moon. And so that means for people who are maybe not as aware, it's going to spark a lot of things because Mars is also in this energy of sparking and changing. And it's a wonderful energy on the other side of it. Is that a good way to say that?
Yes, I would definitely say so. And in reference to our Venus moving into Capricorn, that actually happens in 3 days from today.
In 3 days, 9th. Yes. It's Mercury. Yeah. It's Mercury. Yeah,
Mercury moves today. Mm-hmm. And it's so interesting because when we talk about this moon, the full moon's energy, I actually did I forget where the hell I did the live. I must have done 10 lives today someplace. And I actually asked those watching on the replay, based on this full moon in Gemini, to focus on the communication that we have with our body and the communication we have with food. Between the combination of the two, the relationship we have with our body and the relationship we have with food, with this full moon's energy, perhaps even, and your dog agrees, perhaps even moving into that energy of how can we change the relationship we have with food and our body? And it's one of my big things that I'm doing with a lot of my clients is helping them to come out of that mindset of restrictions and limitations to with the nutrition industry anyway. It's always about, well, we can't have this, we can't have that, we have to restrict this, we have to watch our calories. And I truly believe it's all about a mindset. Whereas if we can shift our mindset, if we can change our mindset about why can't we have? Why is it that we have to restrict ourselves from having our favorite food? So Kitty, just out of curiosity, when you were a child, what was your favorite food to eat?
Hot dogs.
Okay, excellent.
Got it, by the way, still is.
Yes. And when was the last time you
moderation? Yeah.
I was going to ask you, when was the last time you had a hot dog?
Probably last week.
Yeah. And that's the whole concept to this full moon's energy for me anyway, is helping everyone to shift that mindset of thinking, well, we can't have our favorite food anymore because it's not healthy for us. If we apply or give that particular food a specific reason for why we're eating it, as opposed to restricting ourselves to having it,
Mm-hmm.
where it allows us the ability to have a different relationship with the food. It's a really great way where we don't restrict ourselves. In fact, a client of mine, a colleague of mine as well, a couple of weeks back, he was sharing with me on how he implemented this whole new philosophy that I was sharing with him about the relationship with food and his body and having a different relationship with his food. And that by doing so, he actually released 30 pounds over a 12-week period just by changing his relationship with food. So he didn't restrict himself. He didn't say, I can't have this and I can't have that. He wasn't counting calories. He wasn't doing any of that. He literally changed his mindset to what it was he was going to have when he was having food.
Mm-hmm.
And 30 pounds later, he released just from doing that. So what I'm asking all of our viewers to do is with this full moon, because of this Mercury Capricorn energy of the judgmental, how we judge ourselves. What's that?
And they can tap into their Mars Gemini.
Thank you. I knew there was Gemini with something, but that Mercury energy of we don't need to judge ourselves anymore. We can adapt a new mindset with the help of the full moon, with the help of Mercury and Capricorn, with the help of Mars and Gemini, and with the help of Venus in Capricorn as well. And how we can learn to love ourselves and enjoy the damn food we like to eat. What the heck? Why not?
It's interesting because one of the energies around this Gemini full moon is this. I follow an astrologer named Pam Gregory also, and she talks about we're in this with the sun, because when a full moon is there as far apart as they can be, that's a full moon. The moon and the sun completely reflect off each other. The sun is actually at this position of what's called a point of the great attractor. And so you can creatively change and imagine and interact with this energy that is causing you to look at your judgments and things. So it's kind of like this wonderful other piece to get through all of these things that are turning in your head. And your relationship with yourself, your relationship, obviously, and how you take care of your body. This conversation fits today's energy because all of today's energy is about Taurus, home and body and getting ready, and all of those kind of future energies. Scissors appeared in my hand. Are seriously, I was about to say, are cutting, and I literally scissors I must have picked up, are about cutting out those other things that don't serve you anymore, letting them go, turning and taking care of your home, how you think, all of that. So yeah, your relationship with food is a big part of your communication.
Yes,
and how you approach it.
And I think too, it's so fitting on how you had the scissor in your hand, because when we talk about shifting our mindset from the old beliefs, habits, and program, it could be using this full moon to also cut cords of that energy as well. So that scissor was really a great.
Yeah, and I just kind of picked it up and started talking, and here it was in my hand. I'm like, okay, yes, it's a prop. Yes. Thank you, Spirit.
Yes, exactly. And confirming. I think that was also like Spirit confirming for us that this topic is a really perfect timing. And again, too, it's one of those things where, I mean, from my end anyway, only because I am in the industry of nutrition and fitness and health, that I'm constantly hearing so many people talk about how they have to restrict, how, especially with the holidays coming, where people want to indulge, but it's like, okay. And I had this mindset as well many years back where it's like, okay, I have to make sure I get my hour workout in before I go to whatever festivities I'm going to go to, so then I can enjoy doing what I'm doing, in reference to whatever it is I want to eat. That was the old mindset. My new mindset is like, okay, theoretically, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day falls on Saturday and Sunday. I do not work out on Saturday and Sunday, because it falls on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, does that mean I have to make sure I get my 1 hour workout in so I can go and indulge? Hell no. No, because my mindset is different now. My mindset is like, you know what, I'm going to have a really great relationship with whatever the hell it is I want to eat.
Well,
What it's going to be.
The other thing is you're a master, Joanne,
Thank you.
at listening to your body. So even when you're indulging, if your body starts to say back up, it's in every moment I'm listening to my body, including when I'm in festivities.
Exactly.
And so learning your own boundaries is also about listening, because that is the more important why I want to take care of myself. That doesn't matter that it's a special day. I still want to take care of myself. So that's why I like to balance. And that is a big shift from I'm depriving myself of. No, I'm going to stay balanced because I really don't want to eat 95 Tums in an hour.
No, we don't want it. We don't even want to eat one Tum for that matter. Because again, it's like Kitty says, and I do. It's really
let me say antacid rather than a brand name. Antacid. Yeah,
exactly.
Antacid.
Exactly. That connection that you do have with your body, where you learn to listen to your body. So if you are going to indulge in listening to your body as well. You can have, if there's a whole tray of whatever on the table, you want to choose and pick a little bit of everything, why not?
Mm-hmm.
But also be mindful of like, okay, if I choose to have a little bit of everything, how am I going to feel later? And you may feel fantastic later because you gave in to your inner child, and your inner child decided, you know what, I want to have a little bit of everything. You know how children, when they order things, their eyes are so much bigger than their belly, and they choose to have like these big servings of whatever, and then at the end of the day, it's like, you still have food in your plate, child? What's going on here? Well, I can't eat it all because I'm full. But that's okay. That's okay. So yeah, so this energy that we are moving into now. I'm sure you have your calendar in front of you, Kitty. I do, but I don't have it reachable. Where is the moon going to be on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day?
What sign is it going to be?
Yeah, what sign is it going to be? I'm kind of curious.
Well, the new moon is the 23rd.
Oh, okay. So the new moon saw Sagittarius.
Sagittarius.
Oh, okay.
It will be in Capricorn. And on Christmas Day, it starts in Capricorn and moves very quick. So it's part. I'm sorry.
Isn't it won't it be in retrograde as well in Mercury, if I'm not mistaken?
Mercury retrogrades. When does that start? That starts the 29th.
Oh, okay. So I'm ahead of myself. Okay.
So on Christmas Eve, it's in Capricorn. It goes void of course just before Christmas Day, and then it moves into Aquarius.
Okay. So if you guys are like me, and I'm loving the fact that Christmas Day will be in Aquarius.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
2:14 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so most of the day. Yeah.
So I'm going to take a little ownership here because it's my moon. Because it will be in Aquarius, and that's where my moon is. So I like that. So
I have a tune playing through my head. Understanding, sympathy, and trust abound here. Sorry, Age of Aquarius.
We get entertainment here too. If you have not figured this out, folks.
Well, it's quite the solstice, because the solstice is the sun entering Capricorn, and on Christmas Eve it's in Capricorn. The moon is also, and what's kind of interesting about it is it's a pretty powerful solstice for that great attractor and about this new beginning and dawnings of truth, because of this Gemini moon, because we're going to have been looking at very physically with all the Taurus stuff that's hanging out right now, and very much about creatively pulling that kind of combative energy conversation that's in us, coming out of us. It wants us to kind of move on from, I got to fight, I got to do all those things. And really then bring in this new truth of how are we going to get along, how we're going to do this. And so it's a very interesting solstice, and it's kind of the completion of the really big alignment that happened on the 21st in 2020. Remember that the great conjunction, and there was also this other energy that just we got like a little preview. Well, now we're really going into that energy. So it's an interesting couple weeks now as this shines the lightness on what is it we can let not be in our way in judgments, how we talk, how we think, all of those pieces. So
Yes. Sounds like some fun energies this week and moving into, I can't believe we're moving into Christmas. It's like, how on earth did that happen?
Yeah.
It
Yes,
happened.
ma'am.
It happened.
It
Yes,
happened.
yes, yes. So, Kitty, based on this week's energy, because we're in this week, we might as well stay here for a little while. Based on this week's energy, what would be like one thing you would suggest for those who are watching? Like one tip you can suggest for those who are watching?
I would be looking at where, for those people who are watching that are interested in astrology, I'll do two. And if you aren't interested in it, I'd be looking at where my Gemini energy is, and of course my moon. Okay. And maybe a little bit about the Capricorn, Venus, and whatever, because those are both switching signs this week and their daily energies. And of course, and I would be, especially tomorrow, but this is also the Leo moon that is me, stepping back and making sure I'm very aware of how I speak and what I'm being activated about, not jump wholeheartedly into it, and see if some of what's coming up for me are about decisions I based, stories I'm telling myself that I've been letting go of and becoming aware of. So new levels of that. So grounding, taking care of yourself, just kind of watching yourself tomorrow. That would be how I'm going to approach it.
Interesting.
What do you think you'll do?
Now, well, before I answer that question, so you are a Leo moon?
Yes.
No wonder why we get along so darn well, because of my Aquarius moon. We're like right there, opposition of each other.
Yes.
Isn't that fun? What am I going to do tomorrow with this full moon, logically speaking? Well, I've been doing a lot of creative work over the last couple of days. In fact, yesterday I spent, oh my God, probably like 3 hours working on a flyer, which I'm actually thinking about redoing. It's beautiful, but I think I might be changing what I put on the flyer to put something different on the flyer. So yeah, but that's okay. It's all good. So I'm excited. A lot of new things I think are coming in. I'm working on possibly looking at a different work schedule. I had sent out a proposal to someone the other day, and they got back to me today, letting me know they got my proposal, and that they'll be getting back to me in a couple of days because they're in the middle of fine tuning something, and I think they're trying to see where I fit in their schedule. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. If it's meant for me to do what I sent, we'll find out.
Yeah. This is a great creative time. We've been talking that this is a lot of time of starting and beginning. Tomorrow's catch is how you might be saying it, how you might be judging how you're hearing it, or how you're talking to yourself. That whole loop. Yeah. But especially as we get to the other side of it, Venus enters on the 9th, very cosmic number, into Capricorn, the structures of what we are. It's a little bit hard for leadership right now because there's a too good to be true, not trusting. Neptune's in a huge amount of aspects this month. It just is. And so the spirit's here. It's come direct with information from all of us into the collective, because it comes from inside then again to outside, so it brings that stuff with it.
Yes. It's so interesting. In case the viewers are curious why I'm looking down, I'm looking at my natal chart. And I'm looking to see, as Kitty mentioned, to look at your chart to see where Gemini is. And I know that Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. So for me, Mercury's in Aquarius in
So
my
it's
eighth
with
house.
your moon anyway. So,
Yeah, exactly. It's right there with my moon. Exactly. But I
and
was looking, I'm like, go ahead.
and so what house numbers? That's where those conversations are taking place for you.
Yes. So that conversation is the eighth house.
Transformation.
Exactly. And when I stroll
Death,
down,
rebirth, cycle, all the taboo, going into the darkness to get the light, you pick it. It's all of those. Yeah.
we do pick our own damn journey, don't we?
Well, and interestingly enough, my Gemini is on my physical body. So it makes perfect sense. I'm sitting here listening to you. The physicality, the systems, the service. That's where my Gemini energy is.
Exactly. And interesting because, again, third house is a house associated with Gemini as well. And for me, that's connected with Pluto and Virgo.
Ah, transformation of all the smaller nuances. Very diligent sign, that combination.
Yeah. So when
Exhausting. It's a good word.
exactly. And the reason why I bring this up, not because I want to get information, but of course that's always it too, but also to let our viewers know that when you are looking at your chart, because once upon a time I used to think this until I really started studying astrology, is like if you're looking at your chart and you don't necessarily see the word Gemini on your chart, you have to start looking for it in other ways, such as Mercury and third house, because it's all associated with Gemini as well. And then you get a clearer picture.
Yeah, because this is when I do my course, I teach people the bottom is the same for all of us. Aries is always on the first house. Taurus is always on the second house. Gemini is the third house. The planets that rule those signs are in those houses on that bottom plate. Yours is just laid at an angle on top of it. And that's where the geometry comes in. And then what we usually get together to talk about is this third layer that's always moving. So it can be highlighting for your houses because of where planets are and what they're in and all that. But that's why when she says, I would look at where is Gemini, because that's going to be part of what your moon, wherever it is talking in this house of where it is on your chart. And of course, Gemini is talking in the third house. So there's a lot of talking. That's why this is kind of a discombobulated. That's a better word, more than gnarly, because that's what it feels like. It's kind of tied up, but it's kind of discombobulated while you're like shaking it all down, organizing it, and it's talking. So there's a spin because it's
yeah. And when we think about the energy, I like to look at it as a puzzle, so to speak. Like you have Mercury that just moved into Capricorn, and Mercury, again, as we already know, is the ruler of Gemini. So you have that little puzzle. Capricorn is about, what we're here to do. The moon will be in Gemini, so it's that combination that we have going on between what it is we want to say, what it is we're here to do. And then, of course, Venus.
And the bigger picture of that overall. And meanwhile, you've got Taurus. There's a lot of this Uranus-Taurus square that's kind of there for all of us that's finally starting. But Uranus which is about your awareness, about learning, about changing. And it's all comes back in communication because it's all got all of this Gemini energy. So, and it's in duality.
Yes, yes.
And experience. Gemini wants experience.
Yes.
So that's why I feel a little woohoo.
Exactly. So as I always ask, whatever the sign is that most of this energy is taking place, and in this case it's Gemini, I always ask this question to those Geminis out there, whether you're sun, moon, or rising sign, because those are three major three major signs. How are you guys feeling with all this energy that's literally connecting with you?
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you who are Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising, and you're watching, whether you're watching on the replay or now with us, I like to know how you're feeling and put that information in the comments because I'm kind of curious to know. I know, like for me, this energy is activating my creativity. And for you, Kitty, what's it activating for you? Your ability to want to sing?
No. Because it's communication. So
Yeah.
it affects all of us, whether it's our communication technologies or communication, our thoughts. What it has me is looking at, I'm feeling like there are being pulled in a few directions and really looking at now, what do I want to do? Really looking at kind of prioritizing that feels kind of like this at the moment. So,
Yeah, like
um,
as you just said, like this, like, oh my God.
yeah,
It's like,
so,
what direction should I go?
well, and sometimes I can go really too fast, and so it's easy for me, and I'm enjoying the season and wanting. My words this year were prosperity, faith, joy, and magic. So sometimes I just stop and I think about those words. And I'm already hearing the words for next year. Some of them will stay, some of them will, you know.
Yes, my words were
Um,
faith and trust were my words this year. Faith and trust. Because
I
I
have
kept
faith.
hearing,
You and I both have faith. Yeah.
yes.
Um, and so, each year comes up with some new ones. And the other one that will go into next year was the word add some. Am here. I am. This is where I am, the spot that I'm in. And unfortunately, Joanne, I'm going to have to go pretty quickly because of one of those things pulling on me.
All right, so before you go really quickly, pull one card and then I will finish up with the cards.
I'm going to pull it from the Joanne deck.
There she goes.
Chakra Balance Numerology Forecast Deck.
Yes.
I have to read. It's printed right there. You should
Yes,
screenshot
yes.
this as the cover. Yeah.
Yes, and once upon a time when I first created my deck, I used to have to read it too to remember the damn name because I was like, what was I thinking?
And
So,
I like that you called this an instructional guidebook versus the meaning. These are the meanings.
yes.
Because your deck is very intuitive. Of course, this fits so much in with what we talked about, the great attractor, how you get through this Gemini moon is be creative, do what you need to do.
Of course. Of course. But of course.
All their cosmic numbers.
Did you see the card
Go to
just fly?
3. I saw something fry, and it's your solar plexus. And so this is about really being okay with what is happening with you and being creative about what you're going to do with it. Maybe do something different. Maybe do something works. And this comes down to synthesizing that energy. It's a beautiful card.
I love that.
I love the back of it just as much.
I love that. Yes, the back of it is an actual photograph that my sister took. So compliments to her.
Mm-hmm.
And the card that went flying, and just for today, we're just going to actually pull 2 cards because that's all we really need to do because Kitty has to go. The card that fell out the deck, wanted our attention, is Karmic Completion.
Yes.
Completion.
Yes, this moon that's why you're looking at your judgments. You're looking at what's not serving you. Done, 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 done.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
And that one energy is really about allowing you to start over, let go, start over, step into your leadership role, step into being the leader. And with all this energy we have going on, it's so important, not just because of all the energy we have going on right now, but generally speaking, grounding. We always have to ground our energy so we can focus, we can be more balanced, and we won't feel like we're being pulled in so many different directions, even though we might really be pulled in different directions. So right. I thought this was really good and that it just flew out of the deck. So Kitty, thank you for playing.
You're welcome.
It was fun. And I'm sure we'll be back here next week to play some more because there's a lot going on.
Oh yeah, this whole month there is a lot going on. So I want to say thank you, Joanne, again. It was great. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you. And thank you, everybody who will be watching later. We will be back again next week sometime for more fun, more insight, because we like to play. But for now, guys, have a great one.
Bye.